Hi everyone, this is Joel Dudley. I'm a product manager at R3, and with me I have Jonathan Locke, who's one of the engineers in our notaries team.
Hi.
So today we're going to talk about how in Corda Enterprise 4.3 we've extended our notary database support. So Jonathan, could you tell us a little bit about the purpose of notaries in Corda?
Sure. So a notary is a very important part of a Corda network. A notary is how we detect and prevent double spends from occurring. So that means that if there is a state that has been used in a transaction before, the notary is the part of the network that prevents that state from being used in a different transaction later on.
And notaries in Corda are pluggable. You can use different algorithms, different implementations. But the additional database support in Corda Enterprise 4.3 applies in particular to what we call CFT notaries or crash fault tolerant notaries.
It's
So,
true, yes.
so what does it mean to be crash fault tolerant?
What it means to be crash fault tolerant is that you can have your notary implementation can tolerate one or more failures of the notary itself. So in other words, if you had a notary cluster made up of two notary workers, it would be possible for one of those notary workers to fail with notarization still occurring.
And so, for example, you might have five notary nodes, and then if two of them go down, you can still continue to provide consensus on the network and still prevent double spends.
That's true. Yes.
And so, Corda has supported CFT, crash fault tolerant notaries, for a while now, but traditionally they've relied on a technology called Percona, a database technology. What have we added in the Corda Enterprise 4.3 release?
Right. So what we've added in the Corda Enterprise 4.3 release is the notary that we call the JPA notary. The reason it is called the JPA notary is because we've used the Java Persistence API as the interface to the database for this particular notary, and there are two supported databases at this time. They are Oracle RAC and CockroachDB. Um, and those are made. We interface with those databases through the JPA interface.
And what's the benefit of using CockroachDB?
Um, it's 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 a fairly new database compared to the other database types, and what is attractive about it from the notary's point of view is that the way in which it works means that the notary can sustain higher minimum level of performance for a greater period of time. Um, a slightly more detailed explanation of that is that the more states that a notary holds in its database, the more states it has to examine whenever we try and notarize a transaction. This means that notaries in general get slower over time as the database fills up. But what we found is that CockroachDB copes pretty well with that compared to some of the other databases that we've tested. The performance degradation that it exhibits over time is less.
So, what are some of the kind of so if we define a notary by the number of transactions it can process a second, how many would you expect to see with a CockroachDB notary?
I would say that it really will vary widely based on the hardware that the notary is running on, and it's usually constrained by the number of nodes attempting transactions at a single time. But we have seen numbers of upwards of 4,000 states per second.
And the other database that's supported in Corda Enterprise 4.3 for the notary's backend is Oracle database.
Yes, yes. Well, we support Oracle 12c with the rack config. Rack in this case stands for Real Application Cluster, and it is Oracle's highly available database standard.
And because of the way we use a JPA interface, this leaves us open to add additional supported databases in the future. So we're working closely with our customers, with people in the market to understand what databases they tend to use, and we can add support for those over time. I think the trade-off there when choosing between Cockroach and Oracle is Cockroach is probably easier to set up, faster. Is that fair to say?
Yes, yes.
But then Oracle DB, Oracle Database, is a very common database technology in various companies. So for companies where there's an existing affiliation, existing operational expertise in using Oracle, it may be preferred to use Oracle DB.
That's true, yes.
Perfect. Thank you, Jonathan.
Sure.